You ever notice how your mind keeps going back to that one moment? That last conversation, that breakup, that thing that ended without warning. You replay it like there's something you missed. Like if you just think about it one more time, you'll finally understand it, and then you'll feel better. But somehow, you never do. And here's the uncomfortable question. What if the reason you feel stuck isn't because you don't have closure, but because you're still trying to find it? This isn't weakness. It's wiring. Our brains are built to complete things. Psychologists in early Gestalt theory talked about something called the law of closure. Basically, if we see something incomplete, like a broken circle, our brain fills in the gaps automatically. It wants the full picture. Emotionally, it works the same way. When something ends without explanation, your brain treats it like an unfinished story. And unfinished stories bother us. They itch. They nag. They don't sit quietly. So your mind keeps trying to solve it. Why did they change? Did I miss a sign? Did I matter at all? That mental discomfort you feel, that's cognitive dissonance, when reality doesn't line up with what you believed. And your brain hates that mismatch. So it keeps searching, not because you're dramatic, not because you're obsessive, but because your mind wants the story to make sense. Now here's where it gets interesting. Some people can let things go faster. Others feel like they're drowning in the what-ifs. Psychologists call this the need for closure. It's basically how uncomfortable you are with uncertainty. If you have a high need for closure, ambiguity feels unbearable. You want clarity, answers, certainty. Even if the answer hurts, at least it's solid. When things are unclear, your anxiety spikes. Your brain would rather accept a painful explanation than sit in the unknown. And that's why sometimes people chase one last conversation, overanalyze every detail, or even create their own explanation just to stop the mental spiral. Because at some point, it stops being about truth. It becomes about relief. Here's the part most people don't realize. We think closure is something someone else gives us. An apology, an explanation, a final, honest conversation. We tell ourselves, if they would just tell me why, I could move on. But let's be honest. Even when people get explanations, it's often not enough. Because what we're really looking for isn't information. It's comfort. It's reassurance. It's proof that what we felt was real. And when we wait for someone else to give us that, we hand them control over our peace. That's the trap. You stay emotionally tied to someone who may never show up the way you need them to. If closure doesn't come from them, then where does it come from? It starts with something that sounds simple, but is actually hard. Acceptance. Not, I'm okay with what happened. Just, it happened. That's it. The relationship ended. They didn't explain. You may never fully understand it. Fighting that reality is what drains you. Another shift? Stop asking, why did this happen? Start asking, what does this mean for me now? You don't control how the story ended, but you do control what chapter you write next. And sometimes closure isn't clarity. Sometimes closure is deciding you're done rereading the same page. You can even make it symbolic. Write the message you'll never send. Say what you needed to say, then let it go. Not because it doesn't matter, but because you matter more. At the end of the day, the search for closure is really a search for peace. And peace rarely shows up in a perfectly worded text message. It shows up when you stop trying to solve something that no longer exists. It shows up when you accept that some stories end without clean explanations. And maybe that's okay, because you don't need every answer to move forward. Sometimes the real closure is this. You survived it, you felt it, and you're still here. And that's enough.